friends, I'm Jyoti Hekar and today I'm going to talk about the topic on tissues of humans. So let's start. A tissues is a group of cells in closely proximity organized to form one or more specific functions. There are four basic types of tissue defined by their morphology and their functions that are epithelial tissues, connective tissue, muscular tissues and nervous tissue. In epithelial tissue, it creates a protective boundaries and is involved in the diffusion of ions and molecules. Then the second one is a connective tissue. Connective tissue goes underlines and supports other type of tissues. Then third one is a muscular tissue. It contracts to initiate a movement in the body. Then fourth one is a nervous tissue. It transmits and integrates information through the central and peripheral nervous system. In epithelial tissue, the features of epithelial tissues are that are high cellularity, especially sensory receptors forms a barrier that are avascular and innervated. Then the surface of epithelial tissues are basals, lateral, and the types of epithelial tissues are squamous epithelial tissue, cuboidal epithelial tissue, and columnar epithelial tissue. It also divided into simple, stratified and pseudo stratified and specialized tissue. Then the second one is connective tissue. The structure of connective tissue is cells, and the types of fibers involved in it are collagen fiber and reticular and elastics. Then the classification of connective tissues are proper, embryonic, and specialized. Then third one is a muscular tissue. In muscular tissue, the features are elastic, extensible, and contractible, and the types of muscular tissues are skeletal muscles, cardiac muscles, and smooth muscles that are also striated or non-striated. Then in nervous system, neurons means soma, and it involves in a it consists soma, dendrites, ganglia, and nuclei. In ganglia, there are astrocytes, oligodendrocytes, and Schwann cells and microglia. Then, firstly, we see the epithelial tissue. In epithelial tissue, it is a high cellular tissue that overlies a body surface inside a cavity and forms a glands. In addition, specialized epithelial tissue functions as a receptor for a special sense like smell, taste, hearing, and vision. The epithelial cells are numerous, exist in a specialized junction to create a barrier between the connective tissue and a free surface. The free surface of the body include the outer surface of an internal organ, the lining of body cavity, exterior surface of a body tubes and ducts. The extracellular matrix of epithelial tissue is a minimal and like additional structures. Although epithelial tissues is avascular and innervated, then then we go forward to the cell surface. The cell of the epithelial tissue have three types of surfaces differentiated by their location and functional specialization, that are basal, apical, and lateral. The basal surface the basal surface is nearest to the basement membrane. The basement membrane is itself creates a thin barrier between the connective tissue and the most basal layer of the epithelial tissue. The specialized junction called hemidesmosomes. This hemidesmosomes secures epithelial cells on the basement membrane. Then the second one is apical surface. The apical surface of an epithelial cells is nearest to a lumen of a free space. Apical cell surface may display specialized extension. The microvilli are a small projection like structure from the typical surface to increase the surface area. They are heavily involved in the diffusion in the proximal convoluted tubule of the nephron and in the lumen of a small intestine. Then the cilia are a small process found in a respiratory tract and a female reproductive tract. Their complex structure facilitates the movement that brushes small structures through the lumen of either the trachea of a fallopian tube. Um, and then we go forward to a lateral surface. In lateral surface of epithelial cells are located between the adjacent cells. The most notable lateral surfaces are junction. Adhering junction link the cytoskeleton of neighboring cells to produce a strength to the tissue. Desmosomes can be thought as a spot welding for epithelial tissues. Then they are located in a deep to adhering a junction and are found in a location subject to stresses. For example, in the stratified epithelium tissue of the skin, the tight junction form a solid barrier to prevent a movement of molecule between the adjacent epithelial cells. The tight junction are found in a simple columnar epithelial of the gut tube to regulate absorption of nutrients. Finally, gap junction perform the opposite function. Gap junction allows small molecules and structures to pass freely between the cells. For example, gap junction in a cardiac muscles tissue allow for coordinated contraction of the heart. Then on the tissue, the structure. In a structure of tissues, there are two major characteristics of a epithelial tissue divided into subclasses, that are the shape of the cells and the presence of the layer. The shape of the cells are squamous. Squamous means they are flattened. Then cuboidal, it means they are cube shaped. Columnar, it means the cells are rectangular in shape. And the second one is layers, in that there are simple stratified and pseudo stratified layer. The specialized epithelial tissues are urothelium, means transitional epithelium. The second one is keratinized stratified epithelium, non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, pseudo stratified ciliated columnar epithelium, endothelium. Then we go forward to a second tissue, that is a connective tissue. Connective tissue is most abundant tissue in the body. In general, connective tissue consists of cells and extracellular matrix. The extracellular matrix is made up of ground substances and protein fiber. So the more detailed way, all connective tissue apart from a blood and lymph, they are consist of three main components, that are cells, ground substance, and fibers. Then we go forward to a cells type, that are structural, immunological, and defense. And also one is energy reservoir. The connective then it helps in reticular fibers. Reticular fibers are thinner than a collagen fiber. They are found in an extensive network and provide the structural support and framework. The second one is elastic fiber, that are also the thinner of the collagen. Then the connective tissue classification. In the classification of a connective tissue is based upon two characteristics, that are composition of its cellulars and extracellular components, and the function of a cells in the body. The tissues are either classified as a proper, embryonic, or specialized. Then we go forward to muscular tissue. Muscular tissue is both extensible and elastic. In other words, it is a stretch and return to its original size and shape. The cells of the muscles are made up of is unique in that they are contractile and capable of contraction. This contraction is result in a sliding actin and myosin filaments. The muscle tissue is easily distinguishable by its highly organized bundle of cells. Although there are three types of muscle tissue with the unique cell morphology, the fiber bundles of each tissue types are arranged in a parallel oriented on the long axis and are distinct from surrounding connective tissue. Then fourth one is skeletal muscles. The skeletal muscles is responsible for a voluntary movement of the body. For example, movement of limbs, skin, face, orbits, etc. The connection of a skeletal muscles tissue is rapid and strong. The cells are large, cylindrical, and elongated. In embryonic development, myoblasts fuse together to form one larger muscle cells, resulting in a syncytial nucleated cells. Nuclei of a skeletal muscle cells are peripheral and ovoid shape. When viewed under a microscope, the arrangement of actin and myosin gives the skeletal muscles and striated appearance. Um, then the last one is the cardiac muscles. The cardiac muscles is found in a heart walls, also known as a myocardium. Like skeletal muscles, actin and myosin also gives cardiac muscles striated appearance. Mm, In that, the second one is smooth muscle. Smooth muscle is a tissue that is associated with arteries and tubular organs, such as the intestinal tracts. They are non-striated muscles. Then last one is a nervous tissue. The cells of the nervous tissues are highly specialized and transmit impulse from one to another. Thank you.